Obviously, no slacking from the team. Back again, episode 39. Real tennis. It's been a week back in the game in the UK. And yeah, going from strength to strength, approaching the 40th. Benno's here. Hello, Ben.
Hello, mate. How are you?
Yeah, good. Good. Solid early wake up today. Get in the office.
Sorry, mate. You cut out there. I didn't hear you there.
Oh, really? Well, solid early wake up. And then, yeah, get in the office after, close some deals. You know how it is.
Full-time businessman.
Yeah, exactly. Making the peas. But yeah, I don't know. I've got readers this Saturday. Rob Fay, exciting.
Oh yeah, you're down at the Oratory, aren't you?
I am indeed. Yeah.
Got some rackets here for you, ready to go.
Oh yeah. Hope your hand. Is that why you're really tired? Because you were stringing bats?
I've not touched any of your rackets.
Fair. So Chris has done them then.
Chris is a very good racket stringer. Strings all my match rackets.
Yeah, she is good. Yeah. Do you remember the time I strung one of your match rackets in 2016?
I think it was immediately demoted to coaching racket, wasn't it? It was either immediately demoted to coaching racket, or I just cut the strings out and gave it back to you. I don't know. One of the two.
It was something like that. I mean, I have strung better rackets since then, but yeah, that's one of my dad's proudest things. He said when he found out so that wasn't after then, but after that summer I worked with you. He said after he found out I could string a racket, he was like, "Wow, I never thought you'd be able to do that because I never taught you how to do anything practical." I was like, "All right, okay."
There you go.
Still the case. What have you just been lessons, wall-to-wall lessons this week?
Yeah, I mean there's just lessons like 4 a day. So either 4 first thing and then kind of afternoon off, or like today I've got morning off and then lessons in the evening. 1, 3, 5, 7. I think. Bit miserable. I'd rather do the morning.
Oh, fair enough. I mean, what can you do?
Well, you got to share the wealth, haven't you?
Yeah, you actually do.
Can't make Chris do all the late. That's a bit harsh.
Well,
it is.
Yeah, that's valid.
It's a team effort. I can't just. It's not dictatorship.
I know. Well, you got that on record now, so yeah, you're a generous guy. I know that. What else? Well.
I picked up my keys this week.
Yeah, because you're moving in, aren't you?
Yeah, this weekend.
Into your just house. I mean, it's a house, but with no decoration.
It's a house that is being floored over the next few days.
Has it got a back? Has it got a back door?
Yes.
Is the back door properly insulated and stuff? Like the windows insulated is what I'm thinking. You don't have to actually put windows in.
I mean, it's a house. It's a house. It's just empty.
Okay, that's cool. That's good.
Does it have a back door?
I'm just imagining basically you've just got the bricks, and the heating doesn't work.
It's a house. It's got a kitchen and stuff. It's got all the units. It just doesn't It's just a concrete floor. It just needs to be floored.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah, it has a boiler and a shower. It's shower is plural.
Sounds like heaven.
Yeah, just imagine you just literally moved all the contents out of your flat, took all the carpets or flooring up. That's what you've got.
Got you. Yeah, no, I've seen a house like that. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's exciting. There's going to be a week or 10 days or 2 weeks of carnage, I'm sure, but looking forward to that.
Yeah, literally.
Looking forward to getting out of this flat.
I'll have to come round to your house for the podcast.
We could do an on-location podcast, tier 3 rules dependent.
Yeah, exactly. Get you quick Wi-Fi.
Get promoted.
Yeah, get promoted. I'm in Division 2. Also,
sorry, can you hear
that noise, right? I thought it was you unscrewing a water bottle, but it's a dog.
No, it's my dog playing with a toy and always chooses the most ridiculous times to do it. When Sally's on a call, she'll start playing with a plastic bottle. Now I'm doing this. She decided to play with a squeaky toy.
That's all right. That's exciting. Don't kick it. That's bad.
It won't be happening.
Okay, fair enough.
Won't be happening.
But no.
Mate, I've got some amazing news for you.
Talk to me.
Obviously, can't go into detail.
Right.
But so good news for everybody.
Here we go. Listen up, guys.
The next episode will be our 4th special guest.
Oh, naughty.
And the person who I suggested and said that I would try and secure?
Mm-hmm.
They're in.
Really?
They are in. I literally can't wait for this.
Were they keen? Were they keen?
Mad keen.
Is it? Oh my god, love that.
I'll read you the text. Obviously, we'll ignore the names. Said would be delighted, and I was like, all right, well, blah blah blah. I'll give you like the topic beforehand, so you know what we're going to talk about. And he's like, all fine with me, literally whenever suits you.
Love that.
Followed by, I admire your confidence in me, because I told him it was going to be, people were going to love it.
Yeah, they will. They will.
I can't wait. I've already got my questions lined up. Can't wait.
Well, the thing, yeah, I'm not going to say too much, but yeah, guys, that will be a big episode next week. I will have to
Christmas special.
I'll have to get to Leamington and do it. I will have to.
Oh yeah, that's true, because we'll have to have somebody else on, like remote call. That won't work, will it?
No, we're not having 3-way remote call. Me and you will be together.
Fingers crossed. Restrictions are that we can do that. Or worst case scenario, we'll record it in the pub.
Provisionally, right? Next Friday, we'll book that in.
Okay.
Anyway, right. Well, good. BTM. We've got a topic. Obviously, last night, what's the topic? We don't have a topic, so we've hastily got one together. But I thought to myself, right.
And you've come up with it.
I have come up with it. Rare for me.
Let's be very clear.
Yeah, this is my idea, and I just thought we always talk about an aspect of the game. We sort of go 1-2, 1-2, like banter, and then talk about aspects of the game. And I just thought, right, the boast is a big part of real tennis. And Ben was like, is it? And I was like, well, yeah, because loads of players boast a lot. And Ben was like, well, I don't. And I was like, yeah, but like everyone else does. Like you're in a massive minority. Like even I boast a lot, like off the return of serve. And Ben was like, right. And
we're not counting the main war force as a boast, are we?
No, obviously not. That's a force. But like so many players, right, in the game hit boasts on the regs. And Ben Taylor Matthews is a rarity.
Well, I'm just a bit more of a classical textbook kind of guy, aren't I?
Yeah, I know.
Don't win.
Tell you what, it's really hard to do that.
What's that?
It's really hard to be that guy. I think that's probably why loads of people hit boasts.
Well, I mean, it depends on your background, doesn't it?
I agree, yeah. To be fair, if you've just grown up with real tennis, you're going to play classically.
Like, well, not just that. Like, I'm probably one of like a very rare breed that came into real tennis without any like specific racket sport experience. Like, I used to, I think I played squash like maybe twice.
Oh yeah.
Since I played reelers, and I used to play like a bit of lawners in the summer, like with mates and stuff. But like never had a lesson or anything, and it was never my main sport or anything like that. It used to just be a bit of a jack of all trades, master of none.
Nice. Still the case.
I obviously started at Bridport as like a trainee pro, so I was just taught how to play from scratch. It wasn't like you were a junior, so you were taught to play from scratch, but you had some hideous habits because you were just young and weak, and they would just let you do it to get you to play and enjoy it and get better.
To be fair, yeah.
So I've just been taught from day one. So I've literally just been taught like a real tennis textbook.
But I feel like this topic is relevant because in real tennis, there's not just like 4 walls, really. I mean, there's all kinds of different walls, different shapes, and stuff like that. So the type of boasts that arrive, whereas in squash the boasts are pretty similar, I think in real tennis the boasts are like really different to each other. If you see what I mean, do you agree with that?
Yeah, I would. Yeah, so I think like with the squash, chappers, let's say, when a ball goes into the corner and it's a bit tough, or it might get behind him, a boast is already on his radar because he's done years of it in another sport. Do you know what I mean?
Indeed.
So like it's always kind of an option. Whereas for somebody like me, I'm never thinking. I'm thinking like, oh, this is going to be quite difficult to dig out.
Yeah.
So, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with the boast at all. What I don't really understand is people that play it out of choice. I understand it as a defensive, like, those people that are just strong, and like the lefties in the forehand corner where you kind of pin them back to a good length. They can just boast their way out of trouble. I get that. Boasting their way out of trouble, I get. I don't really understand the whole like I've got a volley return serve available to me, and I'm just going to hit a boast with it. Just don't really get it.
So yeah, I think it's a defense.
You sell it. You've got to sell it to me. That's your job in the next half an hour.
Easy. Well, I think.
Easy.
Well, no, I've got a few ideas. So you'll probably come back at me and say, "Oh, well, you're on the defensive." But you think of a main wall boast getting a ball into the backhand corner at a bit of pace.
Yeah.
And that is a low risk option. Like anyone can do that. Can just pump a volley into the main wall, fake a cut volley and bang into the main wall, and you've got a ball coming across someone at pace. And I think it doesn't. It's like serving a boomerang, isn't it? It's an easy thing to do.
I'm not gonna. Okay, so I'm only gonna play devil's advocate and ask you a question.
No, that's fine.
You say, right?
That's fine.
So what's the shot? Is all right. So you say it's low risk.
Yeah.
Completely agree.
Well, you're not going to net it or hit it out, is what I'm saying.
Okay. Is it high reward?
No, not really.
Okay. So is it low reward?
I'd say low reward, but you're in a rally.
All right.
You're in the game.
Okay. So why would you want to hit? Again, so let's say you're not under pressure, you're not pinned back, you're choosing to play this shot, right?
Yeah.
Why would you take a shot? Why would you take a shot on that gives you low reward?
Maybe to change it up. I don't know.
Okay. Well, you're trying to sell it to me, remember?
Well, it's an option, isn't it? It's an option. It's an option you have when you return serve. So
I mean, this is why it's just difficult because my brain. So, in order to have the ball in a position where you can hit that shot, right?
Yeah.
My brain is thinking, well, if I can play that shot, why am I not hitting a force or a main wall or a drive into the nick or something like that?
Well, you've got those. You're keeping the person guessing.
No,
maybe
exactly.
the person's expecting
my thought process is if you think about all of those in a split second and you go right risk reward.
Yeah. I
would think to myself that's probably the lowest reward shot I've got. So it wouldn't be at the forefront of my mind, is what I'm saying.
That's fair enough. Anyway, I think because it's low risk, it's not a bad option. Obviously, in real tennis, it's pretty easy to mess up. But yeah, likewise, that shot can put you in a bad position. You've also got other kind of boasts. Let's say,
just out of interest, where are you trying to hit this boast? Because let's be insightful. Where are you trying to get this ball to finish?
You're trying to get the ball to finish around 2 and 3. Hitting it into the main wall, hitting it across the person.
See, I think that's a terrible shot.
Well, not that. Maybe not 2 and 3, but you can hit it short, maybe.
I think it's got to be up by like more than a yard worse.
Yeah, last gallery. Yeah. Again, not a bad option.
Worse than that. If it's 2 and 3, right, and I'm stood in the middle, think about the angle you've generated to get the ball at 2 and 3. Not coming across me that much.
Yeah.
I've only got to take a couple of steps across, then I've got a backhand that's coming across me. What I will concede is depending on if it's a left-hander and they've turned inside it and it's a forehand, that's a different kettle of fish because they can get more power.
You just see a lot of left-handers hit 2 and 3 with that.
And depending on the court. So Cam had Rob in quite a lot of trouble on day one at Queen's with that.
Did he?
Yeah. And we spent our rest day working on how to try and combat that slightly and get beaten by it a bit less.
Got you.
Because the walls at Queen's are quite quick.
Because I remember Rob just leaving loads of those.
Yeah, well, and Cam's hitting a forehand, so that is different. So what? Right, let's be very clear before we move on. A left-handed forehand can do more, can get that ball in there faster than a right-hander.
On a boast.
So I will, yeah.
So I love how it's like the boast is like not a bad, is a bad shot, whereas like left-handers it's massive.
I didn't say it's massive. I just said it's easier. It's easier to hit a better one if you're hitting a left-handed forehand, that inside-out ball.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
Because the ball's checking more, so it's cutting across naturally anyway.
Okay, yeah.
But if you're playing that boast to me, mate, and you're aiming for 2 and 3, I'm going to mop you up with it.
I wouldn't bother.
So therefore, it's not a great option.
You're quite good though against someone who's rubbish. It's all right.
If someone's rubbish, why don't you just chip it in the corner?
I don't know. Just a bit of pace, momentum. I don't know.
Anyway,
force the issue.
If you're hitting this boast, it's got to be short because you've got to make sure they're not getting it right. A boast is not a difficult thing to deal with. So you've got to hit a boast to an area of the court that you know they can't get it. It has to be an outright. Winner. Therefore, for a right-hander, when they're having to hook the ball right across them, it's got to be short.
Agree.
Okay, so then here's the next one.
Go on.
Question on for that.
So
I think you're going to hit a main wall force.
Yeah.
you then counter me with your boast.
Yeah.
And you've hit a good one, so it ends up at more yard worse than last.
Yeah.
I'm not scared of that. I'm thinking.
Yeah, but come on.
Oh, okay.
Doesn't always have to be more than.
I was waiting for a Mabel there. He could have chipped that into the backhand and got chased too.
Doesn't always have to be more than the yard worse.
Well, if it's deeper, I'm going to run after it.
Yeah, perhaps, and then you're out of position, aren't you?
As in, if I'm stood in the middle of the court and you hit a boast and I'm expecting a Maywall, so I'm kind of leaning towards that right-hand side. My body is ready to move to that right-hand side. If I see a boast come in, I'm going to immediately change direction and think about going and getting it. If it's up the court by more than a yard worse, I'm not going to be able to get it, so I just stop.
Yeah.
If it's coming across me and I can see the ball's going to make it down into the corner, I'm interested in that because you're basically hitting the ball towards me.
Yeah.
I haven't got to run as far.
Exactly right. Okay, but you're not considering that you're having to still sprint over there and like put a ball back and like you're on the run, aren't you? So you're not necessarily in control at that point at that moment, are you?
No, I mean you're right. You're right.
I'm saying the boast is decent in that case because it's getting the person at the service end to at least sprint and potentially be off balance and potentially produce a weaker shot. Fair enough, you might not, but then again, you might produce a controlled shot off a great cut volley. It is possible. You might get a great. You might put a ball down below the grill off the main wall force, like defensively. It's possible.
If you're stood in the middle of the court,
yeah,
and you're at the service end, and what do you stand your best chance of hitting a half decent shot at?
Of those three,
returning a cut volley, returning a main wall, or moving across to a boast.
The third one.
So how's it a good option?
But it's easy. It's easier to do than those two.
Well, yeah, that is true.
So
yeah, I will concede that. All right. Well, you have to move on to boast. What I'm going to say is, on boast number one, you've not sold it to me, and I hope everyone listening has not been sold by that.
But
that argument.
Guys, if you're struggling and you need an option and you've got no ideas, just do that. Just don't do that. Just go and do that.
He'll show you how to hit some little flip boast at 30 miles an hour.
No, you won't. You won't. I just do it when I'm in trouble. Anyway,
Shenkers, go and have a hit with Shenkers, and he'll show you exactly how to just literally place the ball on your opponent's backhand.
Yeah, and then just keep running around and repeat that. And repeat. However, we've got different kind of boasts, right? So I want to talk about now is it the battery wall boast?
What, like which end are you at?
Like the hazard end, and it's like
under
the winning gallery. Yeah, I think that like is a good shot as well if you can get that right.
Where are you aiming?
So I mean,
obviously cross court.
Yeah.
Are you aiming short? You're aiming to the corner and letting the ball kind of curl away from, or curl into them. Sorry, because that's the spin you'll generate.
If you can get that 2 bounces before the back wall, that's not a bad shot.
No, I think I have to say I've just realised. I think the reason why I may not be as pumped on it as you are is that for the last 6 years I've played at Leamington most of the time.
It's terrible for boast.
It's a terrible boasting court.
Yeah.
The wall just sucks the life out of it and slows it down. So any speed you pick up off the wall, it just doesn't happen there. So it's not a viable option here. So I guess the angle I'm coming at it from is it doesn't work here. That's why that's not on my radar.
Yeah. If you play at Lords, it might be different.
Blimey. I mean, you could boast everything there, couldn't you?
Yeah, 100%.
I mean, you could. I mean, and it is insane how the shot will change from court to court. Yeah, if you've got somewhere quick like Lords, then yeah, I mean, it's obviously a much better shot because you're going to get the ball's going to maintain its speed.
Exactly.
Anyway, sorry. So I'm assuming you're talking about this. Generally speaking, 9 times out of 10 off like returning a tight railroad.
Yeah, 100%. Or if you're like trying to actually fool them, I think off a good bobble or something, because they can be expecting a different kind of shot, like a down the line, and you boast and they're wrong footed.
Okay. So again, just to kind of throw a question at you on that.
Go on.
If you're serving, and I've got a bobble that sits up. If I'm going to chip that ball down the line, let's say, or I'm going to boast it, you're going to see that boast coming, aren't you? Just because of the size of my swing, I can't line up for a chip shot and then suddenly slam the ball into the wall.
Well, I think sometimes you misread it because people think it's going straight and then they boast.
But as in, can you understand what I'm saying? Like, if
yeah.
someone's going to hit the ball hard, which a boast will be, you can generally see it's coming.
I agree with that. Yeah.
So I would say if you've got like a railroad, it's a better option to play on, because if you're gonna swing hard, the person at the service end, for all they know, you could be hitting a post, a down the line, a cross court, a main wall. Do you know what I mean? It's one of many options that you could hit hard. If you've got a really slow serve, you've got to try and hit the ball even harder. So your backswing's going to be even bigger, and it's just going to be so obvious that you're getting the ball hit hard. However, I do concede if you've got a bit of space, it would be difficult to pick whether it's coming straight or off the wall.
That is true. That's what, and that ball as well has a lot more.
Then my concession with that is, if you've got a ball that you have some space to return, why would you elect to hit a post off a bobble if you've got space? If you serve like a tight bobble and you can see someone like really kind of turning and facing that side wall or turning and facing the back wall because they've obviously got no space, and the backswing's big, you know exactly what's coming, right?
Yeah.
It's like the same shot as if you hit like a main wall timber against somebody, but you happen to get the legs like really good, and the ball kind of gets in a bit behind them, and they turn to play a forehand as a right-hander, and you just know that the only option they have here is to slam it into that wall.
Yeah.
It's pretty obvious it's coming, you know?
Exactly. I think this shot's good as a change-up. It's pretty bad if you get it, like if it hits the back wall, if it goes sidewall, back wall, because then it's just going to sit up. But it can, like, the spin can be decent if it's a good length. But
well, it's the same thing as the first version you were talking about. These, you know, and to try and be helpful and offer some kind of advice to people, if you are going to hit a post, it's not necessarily smash it as hard as you can. Do you know what I mean?
No, I think that's what everyone thinks of the post.
Because you're still trying to get the ball into a certain area of the court, so you can still easily overhit this and hit something rubbish, you know?
Yeah.
Like if you take the first one's an easier option because the penalties are a lot clearer. If you go like slam it into the main wall and then it hits the floor and then the side wall underneath the gallery, it's just going to pop up and it really is going to get murdered.
Yeah.
So you've got to manage that speed as well, that pace.
No, agree. Right, what other boasts are there?
So here's a question for you. Here's a question for you. Same premises as boast 1.
Yeah.
I will always concede that if someone throws a good railroad at you and it's tight and you're like, do you know what? There's only one option there. I have to take a bailout boast.
Yeah.
I don't think anyone in the world can say that's a terrible shot to play. If you've got space, it's the same thing, really. You've got options. So why would you choose that one? Do you know what I mean?
Well, I don't think people do. But, I mean, people hit posts a lot, don't they? Regardless, because maybe they don't have space.
I think that, yeah, I mean, do you know what? You're absolutely right. I was going to say I think boasting happens a lot more at kind of like scratch to 7 level, but I don't think it does, actually. If you look at the top guys, you know, you've got Cam, Steve, Chappers, Lovers. Like, they're just literally, they're the first people that are drawn off my head.
Yeah.
They all boast.
Yeah, exactly. Like, but maybe they do out of choice, but maybe they do because they're in a bad position. I don't know.
We got a theory here, haven't we? None of them are based in England.
Yeah, none of them are.
So are we in a situation where the Brits, as usual, are just kind of like not doing what needs to be done to win?
Yeah.
And they're just being too nice and friendly about it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. Like,
do you know what I mean? Like, do you think Cam gives one jot if he hits one boast per rally if he's winning majors? Couldn't care less. He couldn't care less if he's hitting 5 boasts per rally.
Well, he said in that quote, didn't he? Embrace the chaos. Embrace the chaos.
Well, it all goes down to that, doesn't it? I mean,
that means using walls.
Chaos, like it would. I don't know how. I mean, I interpreted that as exactly that. Lack of order, ball pinging around all over the place, use of walls.
Yeah.
And I could be wrong, but that's how I kind of pictured it when I read it.
When the ball is pinging around,
something like this.
When the ball is pinging around, right, in real tennis, it is, and you're at the service end, it's pretty tough at times.
Yeah, I mean, I think the court does play a big part in that, though.
Yeah.
You know, if you've got, again, just because I'm used to it, like Leamington's quite, you know, the walls are grippy, so you get a lot of side spin off them, but they slow the ball down as well. So if you get into a messy rally at Leamington, it's funny and it's hilarious to be part of, but no one's winning the point with one of those boasty things.
No.
Because it's just the ball, of course, just too lively. You go to somewhere like Lords, someone says a half-decent railroad, and you slam that boast into the battery wall, that thing's like quick off the wall, then it's quick off the floor, and it's beating the guy before they've even got back to the middle.
Yeah.
So court dependent. You can sell me on that, but you didn't bring it up. I did.
Okay, so yeah. So what about winning a chase off a boast? So let's say I remember Rob Fay talking to me about let's say you've got a ball off the back wall, and you could shape for a force or something like that, and you'd hit it into the main wall to sort of win a chase. Do you know the shot I'm on about?
You're at the hazard end.
Yeah.
Depends what the chase is, doesn't it?
Like to beat chase last gallery. Let's say you shape for a main wall and then hit a boast like that.
Yeah.
I think Rob does that shot really well.
I would agree.
He's a good exponent of an attacking boast, maybe.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, when you've got something like that kind of length, it's tough, isn't it? Because if it's last gallery, if you take on a force and you miss, you've lost. If you take on a drive, low into the back wall, and you hit floor back wall, you've lost.
Yeah.
If you slide it into the corners, you kind of feel I should be able to do a bit more than this because I've got 14 yards to play with.
Yeah.
But then, I do kind of think to myself with a boast, God, if don't get this wrong, I've probably lost the point straight away.
Yeah. I know.
Maybe it's a safety thing. Maybe it's just the British pansy,
Whoa!
grow some nuts and go for it. I don't know.
Well, indeed. What other boasts can we think of while we're here?
Well, here's the problem, though.
Go on.
Didn't Rob win a world championship by volleying a ball off the post?
He actually did, mate. Yeah, he did.
Have I just literally pulled one out of the hat there?
Yeah, the ultimate worst boast ever.
Well, no. Because that is very disrespectful to Cam. What I'm going to do is I'm going to cast your mind back 15 minutes when you said boasts into 2 and 3. If Rob had left that ball, that's exactly what would have happened.
Yeah, you don't want to leave that.
Yeah, so he picked it, and suddenly the 2 and 3 length's not good enough. Volley, winning gallery, down to the knees, cheers.
Yeah.
Give me back my shield.
My shield. Right, here's one for you, mate. Here's one for you. What about the boasted main wall defence?
Chris Bray, big exponent of that.
I think it's one of my favourite shots.
Well, okay, all right, let's think. I'll try and explain this quickly because I don't want to ramble on about it.
No, we're all right. We've got a bit of time, mate.
If you imagine when the ball comes off the main wall, right?
Yeah.
Let's say, just for argument's sake, it's coming off the wall at 45 degrees. Just because everyone knows what 45 degrees is.
I thought you were about to say 45 miles an hour.
That's a bit quick for you, isn't it?
I know, yeah.
It's coming off the wall at 45 degrees. So in order to kind of just block that ball back, let's say you get your racket into a position where it's parallel with the back wall, yeah?
Yeah.
Let's say the ball is now coming into your racket at 45 degrees, so it can only see half of your strings. Would you agree?
Yeah.
So actually, if you have the gonads to turn back, let the ball get a bit further back and boast it straight back into the wall, you are showing the ball 100% of your racket head.
Yeah.
So in terms of if you want to just play percentages, absolutely, it's a great shot to play because you're maximising your chances of defending the main wall.
Yeah.
Because you're showing the ball you're showing the full racket,
I like it because it puts a bit of pace on the ball back into your opponent. I think it's a decent shot.
Depends what court you're on again, doesn't it?
I agree, yeah.
If you're hitting those back in the Leamington, I'm not. That's not hurting me. But that's not because you're not hitting good shots. Because the court's just sucking the life out of your boast.
Yeah. I think it's not a bad one. I think any time in real tennis when you can inject some pace into the game, which sometimes a boast does enable you to do, and I know you're going to say, oh, well, it slows down off the walls, but at times...
Well, it depends where you are.
Yeah, no, exactly. At times, it's a good way of putting some pace on the rally, maybe getting a foothold again, I think a boast is useful. That's why I mention it as a useful shot, because at times, if you can just keep the ball on your opponent's side of the net, maybe through a boast, through whatever, you're going to get on top of more rallies than not. Would you agree?
Well, yeah, I mean, the more time the ball's in your opponent's half than yours, that's probably a good thing.
Exactly. So I think a boast is good for that, for sure.
So here would be my, not my summary, but a boast is a very good shot at a high handicap level, purely because they've got no idea where it's going. That's not a rude thing. They just can't read the angle quick enough, and it will beat them.
Yeah.
Yeah. You get to a level where suddenly it's not so good. Do you know what I mean? I don't know what level that is, but like in the 30s or something, it becomes less of a weapon. Until you then get into like the 20s or something, where the same rule applies in the 30s, but somebody can hit the ball harder, and just the sheer pace will beat them.
Yeah.
But then it works at all levels. My reservation with it is, and again, it all depends on the person and like what their strengths and weaknesses are. If I'm at the hazard end, right?
Yeah.
I'm backing myself. I don't care. I literally don't care who it is. I'm backing myself. I could be wrong, but I'm backing myself to be able to win any backhand to backhand exchange. It's never going to happen. But I have such confidence with that corner that I'm happy. I'm okay with that corner.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I would think to myself, if I chip a ball into that corner, I'm okay with that, because if it's a little bit loose, it's still going to be relatively tight. So you're not going to hit something really loose, are you?
No.
With a chip shot. And it's okay because I'm good enough in this corner that I can hopefully I can get myself back in, work myself back into the rally. If I hit the post and I get it slightly wrong, it's just sat in no man's land. That's my concern with it.
Yeah.
And that's my concern with, people in the kind of the 20s and the teens kind of using it, is I'm like, if it's not good, it's probably bad.
Yeah, if you can do it, you've got to be able to justify it. So like, I see people play off like 15, 20, whatever, and I think, why on earth are you trying to hit a post there? Why? Whereas when I do it, there is a bit more process to it. And I don't boast that much, really, in the grand scheme of things. But like, if I do choose to, there will be a thought process behind it, and I can justify it to myself. I think as long as you can...
Do you know what? That's exactly it, because obviously we don't really have the luxury of like coaches and stuff like that. But if I was coaching you, like kind of happened for, while you were at uni and stuff, if you played that shot and whoever you were practicing with, me or it was a match, they beat you with it, my first question to you would be like, why have you played that shot?
Yeah.
And as long as you can justify it, your coach would have to kind of
Obviously,
go,
at times it's like, don't know why I did that, mate, sorry.
Yeah. And then you'd be like, okay, well, that's fine, but then, you've learned. Maybe that's not the time to do it. And I'll tell you what else, like, plays a big part in it. The state of the game.
Yeah, it does. Most of the shot when it gets tight.
Or something, or it's advantage, your advantage down, play your safe shot. It sounds negative again, but, I mean, the best, the absolute best, obviously take risks.
Yeah.
But if you're a club player, you're not the best. Sorry. So, there's a time and a place. It's you either play the safe shot or you live by the sword, die by the sword. And I would always think to myself, if I'm going to do something like that, I'd rather do it and take the risk of getting it wrong. I'd rather do that 50-all than 40-30 down.
Yeah, not a bad point.
So the state of play will make a massive part of that. So and do you know what? I think that's why. Well, if you're playing certain shots, you're generally playing them with a view to getting a certain response, right?
Yeah.
So you play a shot and kind of go, right, it's probably going to come over here, and that's a fairly readable situation.
Yeah.
When you play a boast, I think all of those potential options increase.
Yeah.
So it's much more difficult to read what kind of return you're going to get because you've just made the rally slightly less organised. Do you agree?
I agree. I mean, yeah.
So somebody like Camden, who brings the boast into play like pretty much every rally. Do you agree?
Yeah, you see a boast from him. Yeah.
Most rallies.
Yeah.
The fact that he is happy to make it messy straight away and lose that kind of order and readability of what his opponent's going to do is a compliment to him, because he's happy to basically play in a very reactive way.
Yeah, he's very fit though.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, he's very good.
Yeah, I mean, everybody in the top 10 is very fit. Like, I'm not having Cam as this like superhuman fit person. Everybody in the top 10 is fit. He's very quick.
Yeah.
But like, everybody's quick, everybody's fit. He might be slightly quicker, but it's not like everyone else is slow.
No.
But he's happy to stray away from, like, I don't want to use the word organised, because I don't want it's disorganised, but he's happy to play the game in a way where it's much more difficult for him to read what's going on, and he's happy to play that more kind of reactive style.
Yeah.
And
the boast helps him with that.
Yeah, if somebody said to me, like, right, you've got to hit a boast in every rally here, I would think to myself, oh God, I'm basically having to take myself out of the zone that I like to be in, which is, like constructed situations and rallies.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I like to kind of try and figure out what's going to happen. I don't, it would be not out of my comfort zone. It would be a style of play which I don't implement as a rule.
But everyone's different, aren't they? Everyone's different.
Yeah. And as a top 10 player, you've got to try and react to it. React to that. And as yet, people have not, generally speaking, found a way to combat that style yet.
But yeah, so guys, what do you think about the boast? I think it's a polarising topic, to be fair. A lot of people for and against.
What we should have done for this, sorry to interrupt.
Go on.
Why on earth did we not get Adam Phillips on for this?
The best volley boaster ever. Drew.
How do you let's talk doubles. How do you defend the grill?
Boast. Oh mate, we never even talked about boasting in doubles.
No.
Oh well, another time.
Well, put very simply, I would say doubles is a considerably more chaotic, unstructured game.
Yeah, so the boast is key.
There's much more of a place for it.
Yeah. But there we go. Adam Phillips, yeah, I know we should have got him on. Maybe another time. But yeah.
Opportunity. Maybe we'll see him next week, who knows?
Yeah, who knows? Don't rule it out, guys. Right, well, do you know what court we're at today? Are we at New York?
No, we drove down to Tuxedo Park.
Oh yeah, Tuxedo in New Jersey.
Tuxedo Park in New York.
Oh right, I thought it was in New Jersey.
No, it's New York State.
That's where the airport is.
Newark is, yeah. That's in New Jersey.
Weird, because Newark's in Leicestershire, but there we go. So is Boston. That's in Lincolnshire.
That's in Lincolnshire.
Yeah, I know.
Mean, how many other things can you get wrong immediately?
Jersey.
How many other things, like with your quiz last week, can you say confidently but actually be wrong with?
Mate, every time.
Tuxedo Park is in New York because you wouldn't have that level of wealth of real estate in New Jersey, mate.
Okay.
I think New Jersey, Americans might be able to correct me on this. I think it's referred to as like the armpit of New York, of America.
Oh God, horrible.
Well, I think that's probably partly to do with the way the country's laid out as well, like the shape of it. But I'm pretty sure New Jersey is referred to as the armpit of New York, of America.
Well, it's supposedly got a nice real estate setup in Tuxedo.
And if it's not, I apologise profusely to any New Jerseyans.
New Jerseyans. Right,
Tuxedo Park, you've been there.
I've been there, yes.
I mean, for anyone who's not been there, it's a private gated community.
How cool.
It's like there's a police presence on the front entrance. There is a back entrance which is like all barriered, and you have to like radio in and out and stuff.
I didn't know there was a back entrance.
Yeah, by the golf club is just actually slightly outside of the park.
That's mental, is it? They've got a back gate. So you obviously got all those mountains and stuff, and no one can get in, and they've got a back door.
Yeah, they've got a massive lake in the middle called Tuxedo Lake, and then the park kind of wraps itself around the whole thing.
Hang on, how big? It's massive, isn't it? I'll Google it.
6 or 7 square miles.
Mate, it's big. I don't know. It's weird that it's
Anyway, what an amazing place as a location. No shops or anything inside the park, only residential. The club is right on the lake, so you've got, let's say, what do we think here, Shenks?
Yeah.
6 lawners courts?
Loads. I don't know. It's got like three squash courts. I know that.
Maybe more. It's got 3 squash courts now. Down at the back, that never used to be there, so that's a new addition to the club.
Yeah.
So you go down the corridor. If you're walking down the galleries towards the real tennis, get to walk onto the real tennis court. On the left-hand side, you've got the gym, and the other side, you've got the squash courts. Is it 2 rackets courts or 1 rackets?
Just
court?
Just the one.
1 rackets court off to the right. Changing rooms are, as you'd expect in an American club, like a very nice, comfortable place to be.
Yeah.
And there's a pool, and in the summer, what a place!
Yeah, I know. Not that I've been there in the summer. Yeah. I've been there when it's very cold.
I mean, in the winter, not fun. Like I've never been to a real tennis venue that is so amazing. Like the difference between how its enjoyment level changes so much because of the
because of the weather. Yeah.
So we had the US Open there probably last year, I guess.
Yeah, that's
right. And the thing is, there's nothing to do in the park apart from sport, right? There's no shops or anything like that.
Yeah.
And that's obviously the way it's designed. It's a very wealthy residential area. It's extremely private. It's an insanely nice part of the world. Like you say, like the hills and the greenery and stuff like that. It's absolutely immaculate. In the winter, wow.
Cold.
It's a struggle. It's cold and it's a struggle. And because there is nothing to do apart from sport, and obviously when you're there for an Open, if you're not scheduled to practice or play, you're not doing much. It's not like you're in the middle of a city centre where you can go.
You can go to the gym. Go to the gym. Do a few curls.
In the middle of the tournament, not the best idea, but
yeah, exactly. I think it's cool that I've just looked at it, right. So it's like 3 square miles.
Is it?
Yeah, not that big.
I think it was a bit bigger than that.
Population 600 or something.
Yeah, I mean it's just so lovely.
Does Gooding live there?
Well, not anymore because he's in Newport, but he did have a house there, yeah.
Mad how he lived there.
I've actually been lucky enough to do it in the summer and the winter, and it is a completely different place, but whatever, I mean, driving around the lake in the winter last year when everything was just completely under snow and the lake was frozen, that's an impressive... It is a seriously impressive place. Anyway,
it's a massive lake. Yeah. Anyway,
what's the court like?
The court, bouncy, weird timbre, small.
Weird timbre, but
no, it goes behind you, doesn't it?
Represents a different challenge, very much like Oxford and Hobart. It's one of the.
I'm not saying weird as a criticism. I'm just saying it's different.
Yeah, it will not come across you.
No.
It will get right in behind you, even if you're stood at the back of the court.
Tuxedo's a bit smaller than other
It does feel quite small, doesn't it? I'm sure
no, it is smaller, mate. It is smaller.
Well, and again, your track record of...
No, mate. I guarantee it's smaller, all right? I guarantee.
I'll tell you what.
That's a promise.
Right. There is a book. I've been meaning to do this. There was a book that I used to read or use at the Hyde in Bridport.
Right.
And it used to have... It was like a history of real tennis and stuff like that. And in the back, in the appendix section, it had a diagram, an architecture sketch of each court in the world, and it would give you the dimensions of absolutely everything, like the angle of the timbre, the width of the timbre, the size of the band. Honestly, the detail in this thing was absolutely insane, and I can never remember what the book is called, and I want it because it is. Mate, you would love it. It is a real tennis geek's dream.
Right, I've opened up
single measurement of every court you could ask for.
I've opened up my history of tennis and rackets, whatever. I'm going to try and find now.
It's not the Faber Book of Tennis and Rackets.
Yeah, it's the Faber one.
Do you know what? Hopefully they've still got it down at Bridport. If any of the guys are listening down at the Hyde, can you let me know if you can find it? I'm pretty sure it's quite big. It's quite thick.
It's not in there.
The book itself has lost, or I'm pretty sure it had lost its kind of cover.
Yeah.
The plastic kind of protecting cover. So the book itself, I think, is navy blue. Next time I'm home, I'm going to go have a look. Because that book is bonkers, and that will either prove you right or wrong on width.
Okay, but it is smaller.
Okay.
It's got a top gallery anyway. I'm looking at a picture.
Top,
of the court.
Top gallery up above the main wall.
Which is good.
I remember it being quite fair. So last year it was actually interesting because in the US Open we used 2 sets of balls, one for singles, one for doubles, and the singles balls happened to be very big, and the doubles balls happened to be very small. There's a big contrast between the two.
Oh wow!
And the court was significantly different.
Oh right.
Like really, really different. The court it was very bouncy for singles.
Yeah.
And because of the kind of the smaller, harder balls, you could really get the ball to like work around the corners a lot more in the doubles.
Yeah. Well, what else about it? What's noticeable?
It's quite bouncy. I wouldn't say it's bouncy, but it's just quite middle of the road, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah. Well, Chisholm's the pro there, isn't he? He's been the pro there since 2010, apparently. I'm reading about it.
Is it really 10 years?
Yeah.
Wow.
And Leon's the assistant now.
Leon's the assistant. Josh Dodson was there for a while. Tony Hollands was there.
Was he?
Yeah.
I don't know.
What do you mean you don't know?
Was he at Newport?
Yes, he's also been at Tuxedo.
Didn't know that. Fair.
Well, this isn't a discussion. I'm telling you, he was at the Tuxedo.
Wouldn't be the first time.
He was at Tuxedo, not for long, maybe a year, 2 years.
Fair.
And then went to Boston.
The Tuxedo hosts the Gold Racket every year, doesn't it? That's the amateur competition.
This is the beauty about doing the US tour, isn't it? Every court there hosts something major.
It does.
Like the Tuxedo Gold Racket is
it's a big amateur thing.
Very long-standing, like.
It'd be like
that for me, as a pro, is one of the amateur events that stands out in the calendar as like, oh, that's a big one.
That's like the MCC Gold Racket, in my opinion, but it's over a weekend.
That's a big one. And they couple it up the same weekend with the US professional rackets, don't they?
That's right. Yeah, that's right. Good idea.
Yeah, they try and kind of tie them in at the same time.
Indeed. What else about it?
What's the colour scheme?
Green penthouses, black floor, green lines.
The Tuxedo racket and colour schemes that's my favourite colour is green, and it's literally. Is
it?
Yeah. If somebody said to me, "What's your favourite type of colour specifically?" It would be Tuxedo green.
Mate, have you seen my green bag? My Tuxedo green bag.
Yeah, love it.
It's a good bag.
I'll never tell you because I don't want to give you a compliment. But
no.
It is a lovely bag.
It's a good bag, isn't it?
I think you probably should donate it to me.
Do you want it?
Probably doesn't look good if I stroll into my job at Leamington with the Tuxedo bag.
Christmas present, mate. No. Put it against your tax return. Equipment expensed. Yeah, you're allowed that. It's for your job. Yeah, green is a good
getting enough money out of me this year.
Yeah, not next year. Right. Well, it's a good place.
It's relatively. Yeah, I just remember it being very fair. I remember the first time I ever played on it was just before the World Doubles, and that felt weird. Like the first couple of hits, it really took me a while to get used to it, and then I kind of just figured it out. Kind of, so something just kind of clicks. Did all right there in the singles last year. Kind of felt like I knew what was going on the court quite well.
Daz played well against Chappers in that match. He got a set off Chappers. I was watching that. I was watching that one. Daz was sick. I genuinely think that's the best I've ever seen him play.
I was sat in the pro shop. I think I just finished stringing a racket, and someone was like, "Oh, are you going to go in and watch?" I was like, "No, because I don't want to potentially put him off." So I was sat in the pro shop. They've got a great room behind the Delon as well, haven't they? Which is glass.
Yeah, really good. So
it's another one of those really, they've really thought about it from a spectator perspective. Getting that room in behind the Delon with glass, so even though they can't necessarily be in the action hearing what's going on, there's another. You must be able to get another 70 people in there without.
I think it wouldn't. I don't think it's hosted a World Championship, but it wouldn't be the worst place to have a World Championship if everyone was there.
Do you know what would actually be really, really good about it is talk about a bubble. If you're in Tuxedo Park for the World Championship, because you're kind of in that gated community and there's not really much going on apart from the sport.
Yeah. You
could create such a swell of interest there, media days and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, you could. It would be a great place to do it
because it's just everything's focused on the tennis, isn't it?
Yeah, because everything's all about the club in Tuxedo. Yeah, when I say there are no shops there, I mean there is not a single shop there. You can't. If you want to go and get a pint of milk, get in the car and get out of the park.
Yeah, you have to go to the supermarket at the bottom.
Yeah.
But it's so right.
How come? So I've been over there for. I mean, this just goes to show, doesn't it? The American courts, like, there's always something big. I've been over to Tuxedo
World doubles,
twice.
World doubles, and
World
doubles and US
doubles
Open,
and a US Open.
Yeah, she played with Stout at the World doubles.
Yeah, nearly killed Lummers.
Oh mate, what a great video! Great video. I've got it on my phone. Oh, maybe I've deleted it now, but I've seen the video.
Do you know what was actually quite funny about this? And Lummers won't mind me saying this because this is quite a few years ago now. So Lummers are kind of maybe just broken top 10. He was like maybe 10 or 11.
He's playing with Chappers. Chappers sells him down the river with one of the worst backhands ever.
So,
like,
me and Stout are playing Chappers and Lummers, and on paper, like, we should edge. I think we're the seed.
You are, yeah.
And I said to Stout, like, right, mate, with all due respect to Lummers, and I can say this because he's now a world-class player, he's out of his depth. Because at that point, he was slightly, not out of his depth, but he was, ranking-wise, the weakest player.
I'm surprised you didn't say I'm going to retire him.
No. And I just said, right, we need to let him know that, and we need to put one through him early, try and get him on the back foot. You know, because he's a jack in the box in front of the timbre and the grill and stuff. He's a live wire. It's like, if we can put one through him early, he might backtrack a bit, and that might soften him up for the rest. That might make it a bit easier for us.
Mate, you literally nearly killed him.
Mate, it wasn't even deliberate. This ball popped up.
You just pulled it, didn't you? You just pulled it.
And I've got this forehand volley, and I'm like, I'm just going to absolutely spray a timbre here, a main wall timbre.
A main wall timbre? You missed by about 3 yards.
Well, let me finish.
Oh, sorry, I'm excited.
So as the ball's dropping and I'm about to start swinging, I see Lummers move towards the middle of the court.
Yeah.
So I'm like, right, he's basically just giving me the corner and the grill now, which is probably the sensible idea. If someone's got a dropping ball at the galleries, I'd be doing the same. I'd be like, all yours, mate. In fact, I've got a good story about that in a minute. So I altered my target literally mid-swing. Never do that.
Yeah.
So I pulled it I tried to hit the grill instead, and I pulled it too far left, obviously. And this ball's like whistled past his shoulder, and then he's kind of gone down. But he's gone down like after the ball's gone past him, isn't he?
Yeah, it's bad, mate. It's so bad.
I mean, thank God it didn't hit. And I did turn around to Stout, and I think if you watch the video all the way through, I kind of grin a little bit. Not because I've been an absolute arse, but I turned around to Stout, and I was like, there you go.
That was it. That was it.
That was the one.
But yeah, no. So what do we do with these courts? Do we like rank it or like? No, we both say what's your favourite bit about the court, don't we?
Yeah, we didn't because we haven't played on.
Well, no. Nonetheless, the reason I've been there, I went to the Tuxedo Gold Racket in 2016 and played.
How did you do?
I won the rackets and got to the semis of the tennis. So
who beat you in the tennis?
Guy Devereaux beat me 6-5 in the third.
Okay.
I remember being 5-3 down in the third, and then I was 30 love up at 5-all and just didn't win. What was the 30 love up? No, I don't think I was. I don't know.
Did he then win the gold racket, or did he lose in the final?
He lost to Mike Knoll in 5.
Okay. Wow.
So I lost to him in the tennis in 3, and then played him in the rackets, went 2-love down, and then won in 5. So he lost the tennis and the rackets in 5 that year.
Ouch.
That's bad. Oh well, worse losing to me.
What's your favourite bit about Tuxedo?
Would be, aside from the all black walls, which I think is super cool. I think that the top gallery's mint. I think that's a great top gallery, a really great top gallery.
It is a very good top gallery. So last time with Boston, I said my favourite bit was the bar at the bottom.
That's a good idea, though.
My favourite bit about Tuxedo is going to be seasonal, which isn't fair.
Go on, just say it. It's okay. It's okay, man.
Just the location of it.
Yeah, no, good idea. By the lake.
In the summer.
You wouldn't go swimming in the winter?
Well, you wouldn't be able to. It's frozen.
No, you'd struggle.
But just, when you drive, it just feels so special when you get to the front gate and you're like, oh, I'm here for the tennis. Like, yeah, do you know your way? And because American cops are really friendly.
Yeah.
And you just drive the way in it. You kind of like corkscrewing up through the hills and down by the lake, and it's just a very special place to be.
Indeed.
Just an unreal location. I mean, in fact, like as one of those locations go, it's got to be right up there.
I definitely want to go back. To be honest, it'd be sick. It's quite easy to get to be honest. Newark train, Tuxedo, easy.
Yeah, it is very easy actually. We'll just Newark, hire a car, job done.
I'll be back.
You're not old enough to hire a car, are you?
I'm 24. I'm pretty close.
I think you've got to be 25. All right, they'll just be like, "Oh, you're close, mate."
Yeah, go on. You look old enough. Got beard.
It's a Lambo.
Yeah, exactly. Got a good rig. But well, what are you on for the rest of today? I'm off to work.
I am toying with going to the gym.
Whoa.
But I'm a little bit stiff from PT yesterday.
Mate, I curled 18 kilos the other day. Did sets of 18.
Lovely. I was doing
personal best.
Straight leg deadlifts at 100 kilos for 10 yesterday, and then literally drop it and then pick it straight up immediately and do 10 full deadlifts at 100 kilos.
Yeah, I do like a few curls and then go on my phone and do them again.
So yeah, my posterior chain's a bit sore today. So I probably will go to the gym. Whether I do a full workout or whether I just like do 20 minutes on a bike slowly and have a monster stretch and a mobility session, who knows? But I'm basically waiting for the all clear from the guy who's coming to sort the flooring and carpets out for the house to say, "I'm on my way, meet me at the house with the keys."
Good stuff, mate.
And then that's it.
That's good. You're pulling towards it. You shouldn't need to be pushed. That is my motivation for the day.
Exactly.
Nonetheless, guys, next episode, special guest. Stay tuned.